I used to attract the same person over and over again. They looked different, they had different names, different lives, different faces, but underneath it all, it was the same pattern. There would be chemistry, there would be attraction, there would be that feeling of intensity, and often they were the type of person other people would look at and think, okay, I get it. Good looking, interesting, a little unavailable, a little exciting, the kind of person who could pull you into a story before anything real had actually happened. But when it came down to reality, consistency, commitment, being seen properly, building something real, they were never really there. And for a long time, I thought the problem was them. I thought, why do I keep meeting emotionally unavailable people? Why do I keep attracting people who seem interested but don't actually want the reality of me? Why do they want the fantasy, the chase, the idea, but not the responsibility of love? And then at some point, I had to be honest with myself because the truth was, I was like that too. I thought I wanted love. I thought I wanted to be chosen. I thought I wanted something serious. But when something got too real, when it required vulnerability, when it required being fully seen, something in me would panic. I didn't always know that at the time. I would have called it intuition. I would have called it not feeling right. I would have said, I'm just not sure. But underneath that, there was fear. Fear of being seen, truly seen. Fear that if someone got close enough, they would find something wrong with me. Fear that I was not enough. And underneath that fear, there was shame, a deep shame I didn't even realize I was carrying. It's not always obvious and not always loud, but it was there, in my body, in my self-image, in the way I interpreted people's attention, in the way I expected rejection before it even happened, in the way I could be drawn to love, but also terrified of the reality of it. And I don't say that dramatically. I say it because I think so many people are trying to manifest love while still carrying a rejected identity. And that rejected identity will keep choosing for you, even when you think you are choosing differently. You can say you want love. You can say you want marriage. You can say you want someone emotionally available. But if the deepest part of you believes, when they really see me, they won't stay, then you will keep finding yourself in situations that prove that belief. Different person, same ending. Different face, same wound. And this is where relationships become mirrors. Not in a cute and Instagram quote kind of way, in a very confronting way. Because sometimes the person you are attracted to is not your destiny. Sometimes they are a reflection of the part of you that still needs healing. Sometimes they show you your fear, and sometimes they show you your self-abandonment. Sometimes they show you the place where you are still trying to be chosen by someone who cannot actually choose you. And that is painful, but it is also useful. Because once you see the pattern, you can stop worshipping the person and start understanding the lesson. For me, the pattern only began to change when I stopped asking why they like this, and I started asking what part of me keeps meeting this, not blaming myself or shaming myself. There's way too much of that that's already happened. Not saying everything is my fault, but taking my inner reality seriously. Because there is a difference between blaming yourself and witnessing yourself. Blame keeps you small. Witnessing gives you power. And I think one of the most important things a person can do is to honestly witness themselves, inwardly and outwardly. Not perform self-love, not pretend to be healed, not write affirmations over a wound and call it transformation. Actually witness yourself. Look at what you believe. Look at what you expect. Look at what you fear. Look at what you keep tolerating. Look at the version of yourself you keep unconsciously being loyal to. Because the longer you stay inside a certain belief system, the more you recreate experiences from that level. If you carry a rejected identity, you will find new love, but somehow it will keep ending in rejection. If you secretly believe you are too much, you may keep choosing people who make you feel like you need to shrink. If you believe love means anxiety, you may not even recognize peace when it arrives. You may even find it boring. And this is why attracting love is not the deepest work. The deeper work is becoming someone who can actually receive love without fear, without suspicion, and without self-sabotage. Without needing the other person to constantly prove that you're enough. Because sometimes we think we are wanting or waiting for love, but really, love is waiting for the version of us that can hold it. And I know people don't always like hearing that because it sounds like responsibility. But responsibility is not punishment. Responsibility is freedom. Because if something in you helped create that pattern, then something in you can change it. And that's powerful. There's a scene in Harry Potter where they stand in front of a wardrobe and the thing they fear most comes out. And I always think about that as such a strong metaphor for life. Because whatever you keep running from eventually appears in one form or another. You can leave one relationship, you can block one person, you can meet someone new, and you can start again. But if the fear is still inside you, it will find another face, another situation, another ending until you turn around and you face it. And for some people, that fear is abandonment. For some people, it is being rejected. And for some, it is being truly seen. For some, it is being loved and still not trusting it. And this is why I think self-love has become such a watered down phrase. Because real self-love is not just like baths and candles and saying nice things to yourself. Real self-love is a serious thing. It is witnessing what is actually there. It is caring for the parts of yourself that you used to abandon. It is becoming safe in your own body, in your own presence, in your own truth. If you're ashamed of your body, for example, the answer is not to punish your body. It is not crash diets or deprivation or removing yourself from social situations. It is not hating yourself into a version you think will finally be lovable. That's still shame. That is just shame wearing discipline. Real care is different. It is a learning how to nourish yourself, learning how your body works, finding movement you actually enjoy, eating in a way that makes you feel clean and stable, doing things consistently. Not because you are trying to become worthy of love, but because you are no longer willing to abandon yourself. And that shift matters because the energy is different. One version says, I need to fix myself so someone will choose me. The other says, I am taking care of what Allah entrusted to me. And that's completely different. And this applies to every fear. If you're afraid of being too emotional, learn to hold your emotions. If you are afraid of being abandoned, learn where you abandon yourself first. If you are afraid of being seen, begin by seeing yourself honestly. If you are afraid you are not enough, stop building a life that keeps confirming that lie. Because sometimes the thing blocking love is not that no one good exists. Sometimes the block is that your inner world is still organized around rejection. So even when someone comes close, your system doesn't know how to relax. It scans, it doubts, it tests, it clings, it pushes away, it looks for signs, and it tries to control. And then we call that love. But it is not love. It is fear trying to survive intimacy. And this is where tawakkul comes in. Because you cannot heal this by controlling harder. You cannot force love into safety. You cannot obsess your way into peace. At some point, you have to return to Allah and say, "Oh Allah, show me what I'm not seeing." You have to have this dialogue with God. Show me the pattern that I keep repeating. Show me where I do not trust you. Show me where I am still trying to be chosen by what cannot hold me. And help me become whole in a way that is real and not performative. It's not for someone else, but for you, for myself, for the life I'm meant to live. Because the goal is not to manifest your dream person while still carrying the same wound. It doesn't work that way anyway. The goal is to become whole enough that love does not feel like survival. Love becomes an addition to your life, a mercy, a beauty, a companionship, not a rescue mission, not proof that you are worthy, not something you have to grip so tightly because you're afraid it will disappear. When you love yourself in a wholesome, grounded, and sincere, peaceful way, you stop putting so much pressure on another person to complete the places that you refuse to meet. And ironically, that is when love becomes safer. Because you are not asking another human being to save you from yourself. You're standing in yourself. You're softer. You're lighter, more honest, less desperate, more able to receive. And then, if Allah brings a person who is meant for you, they're not entering your battlefield. They're entering a heart that has already begun to make peace with itself. That does not mean you are perfect. It does not mean you carry no wounds. It does not mean you have healed everything, but it means you are conscious. You are no longer blindly recreating the same pattern and calling it fate. So if you keep attracting the same person in different bodies, I want you to pause. Don't just ask why they keep appearing. Ask what part of you keeps recognizing them as familiar. Ask what wound they activate. Ask what belief they confirm. Ask what version of you keeps choosing from that place. And then begin the real work. 1. Witness yourself honestly. Write down the pattern without romanticizing it. What kind of person do you keep choosing? How does it always start? How does it always end? And what belief about yourself does it seem to confirm? What painful truth? 2. Face the fear directly. If the fear is your body, care for your body. If the fear is being seen, start telling the truth. If the fear is rejection, stop rejecting yourself first. Do not run from the thing that keeps haunting you. Turn toward it with Allah, with courage, with compassion. 3. Stop trying to manifest love from a rejected identity. Become someone who can receive love without needing it to prove your worth. Because love is not meant to be a nice place or meant to be a place where you disappear. It is not meant to be where you beg to be chosen. It is not meant to keep showing you the same wound forever. Sometimes the repeated pattern is not punishment, although it would feel like it. Sometimes it is just mercy. It's Allah allowing you to finally see what needs to change through that medium. And once you see it, once you really see it, you're no longer going to be trapped in the same story. You can choose differently. You have free will. You can heal differently. You can become different. And when you become different, what you attract, what you tolerate, and what you recognize as love changes too. Assalamu alaikum.